Let's take this on. Joining us on set is Mohamad Elmasry, a political analyst and professor of media studies at the Doha Institute for Graduate Studies. Welcome, Mohamad. No detail yet of what's went on between David Cameron and Benny Gantz, but along the lines, presumably, what Cameron was saying on Tuesday, that patience needs to run very thin. But what does that even mean? Because Israel has proven adept to ignoring world opinion.
Right. I mean, in many ways, patience has been running thin or should have run thin a long time ago. More than 30,000 Palestinians have been killed, many thousands of others missing and under the rubble. Aid is not getting in sufficient quantity, and aid organizations are warning of imminent famine. So if anything, David Cameron's remarks are sort of an understatement. But as we've seen, Israel is adamant about continuing the war. Despite the fact that its closest allies, like the United States, have said that it's unwinnable given Israel's endgame, given their primary objective as stated. Nonetheless, they want to continue. To fight on, and they seem adamant about that.
There's certainly been a big change in tune from the United States and the UK.
There has been. I think it's been interesting to follow, U.S. discourse. I think this week we saw some of the most critical discourse coming out of the U.S. administration that we've heard about Israel. I'm hesitant to say that things have changed meaningfully. I'm always more interested in what the U.S. is doing than what the U.S. is saying, because oftentimes there can be this kind of empty rhetoric. But I don't think there's any question that the Biden administration is very concerned. They're dragged into this now for 5 months. They're seen as complicit in genocide. Some of the recent polling data out of the United States has to be of concern to Joe Biden.
Right, the court of public opinion is what you're referring to in an election year.
Absolutely, and half of Democrats now believe that Israel is carrying out genocide. So it depends on how you want to read the data. On the one hand, Biden can point to the fact that his approval rating has not actually gone down since October, since this all started. On the other hand, if half of his party believes that this is a genocide and that he's supporting the genocide, and if young people increasingly are moving away from Israel and closer to the Palestinian position, which the public opinion data suggests, then those could be troubling signs. And that's to say nothing of the Arab and Muslim votes, which will figure prominently into certain states like Michigan and New Jersey.
And in the background, of course, these negotiations for a potential ceasefire are bubbling away, taking a long time to get anywhere. What are the obstacles? Why is it so difficult to get anywhere with this?
I thought it was interesting what Daniel Levy said. He's somebody that you all have had on Al Jazeera, former Israeli negotiator. And yesterday he said that Hamas's position is, quote, reasonable, the offer that they're bringing to the table. They basically want a complete end to all of the cessation of violence, and they're willing to give up all of the captives that they have, the Israeli captives that they have. That's kind of what the broader world community has been asking for now for months. Give up the hostages, let's stop the fighting. Israel, however, as I mentioned at the beginning, they remain adamant that they want a temporary pause, only to resume the bombing and bombardment of Gaza at the conclusion of that truce. And from Hamas's perspective, there just doesn't seem to be a lot of incentive to give up their bargaining chips on the one hand and then have Israel resume the bombing on the other hand.
Mohamad, we'll leave it there. Thanks for that, Mohamad Elmasry, Professor of Media Studies at the Doha Institute for Graduate Studies. Thank you.
Thanks.